Hey everyone, and welcome back to EchoLens, where we dive deep into the untold stories that shape our world. Today, we're continuing our journey into one of the most fascinating and complex historical connections: how Mao's revolution in China influenced the Philippines. In our last episode, we saw the spark ignite. Now, it's time to witness what happens when that spark is left to burn on its own. The revolution in the Philippines had definitely found its rhythm, a powerful, unwavering pulse. But here's where the story takes a turn. As the years rolled by, the once vibrant echoes of Mao's China began to fade, leaving the Philippine movement standing resiliently on its own red soil. The strong, clear line connecting Beijing and Manila was growing thin, almost invisible. And yet, despite this growing distance, the fire within the Communist Party of the Philippines, or CPP, refused to die. This raises a profound question, doesn't it? What happens when a powerful idea, a blueprint for change, outlives the very empire that inspired it? When the teacher moves on, but the student keeps fighting the same war, clinging to the old lessons. This is the next chapter in the story of the CPP and the Chinese Communist Party, a compelling tale of loyalty, betrayal, survival, and ultimately, transformation. Because revolutions, folks, don't just end, they evolve. And in the shifting shadows of a changing world, new names and faces would emerge, ready to carry that banner forward. Now, let us pull back the curtain and meet some of the key figures behind this intricate red connection. First up, Jose Maria Sison. He was the chief ideologue, the intellectual powerhouse. He skillfully took Mao's theories and transformed them into a tangible Philippine reality. Exiled to the Netherlands in the 1980s, Sison became the CPP's unwavering international voice, fiercely defending its Maoist roots right up until his passing in 2022. Then we have Bernabe, Kumander Dante, Buscayno, the legendary peasant general. He was instrumental in organizing the very first NPA guerrillas in central Luzon before his capture by the Marcos regime. Interestingly, he later re-entered mainstream society, a stark contrast to Sison, who remained steadfast in his ideological exile. And let's not forget Benito and Wilma Tiamzon, the underground strategists. They were the steadfast leaders who guided the CPP through decades of secrecy and intense conflict, ensuring the revolution's endurance through the fall of Marcos and the rise of democracy. Their reported deaths in 2022 truly symbolized the end of an era for the movement. On the Chinese side, the figures are equally monumental. Mao Zedong, of course, was the revolutionary father whose words shaped the CPP's entire worldview. Zhou Enlai, the skilled diplomat, balanced revolutionary fervor with a dose of realism. And then came Deng Xiaoping, the visionary reformer who brilliantly steered China away from exporting insurgency and instead towards exporting goods and economic growth. Their decisions, every single one of them, would forever alter the fate of every Maoist movement across the globe, from the mountains of Nepal to the jungles of the Philippines. As the 1980s gave way to the 1990s, the Cold War finally drew to a close, and with it, the age of direct revolutionary sponsorship. The Soviet Union collapsed, and China, in a monumental shift, embraced a capitalist path. The CPP suddenly found itself without its powerful patrons in a world that had undeniably moved on. This period was incredibly challenging, leading to significant internal divisions within the CPP. You had the reaffirmists, who staunchly remained loyal to pure Maoism, and the rejectionists, who pushed for new strategies, recognizing the changing global landscape. Sison, as you might guess, led the reaffirmist side, holding tight to the old Maoist doctrines that had once linked them so strongly to China. But by the 1990s, Beijing had zero interest in supporting foreign insurgencies. The People's Republic of China was now actively trading with Manila, building economic bridges, not arming rebels. The world had fundamentally changed. Fast forward to modern times, from the 2000s to today, and the relationship between the Chinese Communist Party and the Communist Party of the Philippines is largely historical, not operational. There are simply no credible reports of the CCP directly aiding the CPP or NPA in the 21st century. No training, no weapons shipments, no safe havens. In fact, if anything, the CPP has sometimes openly criticized China, especially over the contentious West Philippine Sea issue, accusing Beijing of imperialist expansion. For the modern Chinese state, influence now flows through diplomacy, thriving business partnerships, and soft power initiatives, not through supporting old insurgencies. Instead of exporting Maoist revolution, China now exports infrastructure, cutting-edge technology, and its own unique ideology of power and development. Meanwhile, the CPP-NPA continues its decades-old struggle, albeit smaller, more isolated, and largely fueled by local grievances and issues within the Philippines itself. So, what was the truth behind this red connection, really? It began as an ideological brotherhood, passionately inspired by Mao's words and the astonishing success of the Chinese Revolution. For a brief, intense moment, it even included material and moral assistance, a true spark of revolutionary solidarity. But when China's national priorities dramatically changed, that connection faded. The CPP was left carrying the banner of Maoism long after Mao's own country had moved on to a different path. Today, that original direct link survives only in history books, powerful slogans, and the memories of those who lived through it. It serves as a potent reminder that revolutions don't just shape nations, they profoundly shape those who dream of them. The world has changed so much. China, once seen as the beacon of global revolution, now proudly builds dazzling skyscrapers instead of communes, trading raw ideology for widespread influence and weapons for immense wealth. The Communist Party of the Philippines, however, still fights valiantly in the forests, carrying the very same doctrines that once moved millions. But their greatest ally, the China that once preached liberation and global solidarity, has long since become something else entirely. The brotherhood that began in shared ideology ultimately ended in divergent evolution. One became a global superpower, an economic titan. The other, a poignant reminder of what happens when time, in a way, stands still. Yet perhaps this is how revolutions truly die. Not necessarily in crushing defeat, but in profound transformation. When the fire that once sought to burn the world with radical change ultimately becomes the light that powers it forward, guiding it towards new possibilities. And somewhere in the quiet green corners of the Philippine countryside, a young fighter might still open a worn copy of Mao's Little Red Book, poring over words written for a different world, still believing with all their heart that they might change this one. Because in the grand tapestry of history, ideas never truly disappear. They echo, through time, through struggle, and through the compelling stories we tell. And sometimes, the loudest revolutions, the ones that resonate deepest, are the very ones that refuse to fade into silence. Thank you so much for joining us on this incredible journey through history. If you like the video, please drop a like and subscribe.